Hey everybody, David the AI Guide here, and we're going to circle back to AI in agriculture with an update and see what's going on right now with AI in agriculture. So, there's two main areas where AI is being used right now in agriculture. There's a third not discussed. Basically, I saw a lot of this information in Emerj, which is cool. You can sign up and get emails from them about implementing AI in your business. But they talk about two areas. There's actually a third I'll mention at the end. So the first area is agricultural robots. And we've talked about this before, but one of the aspects of using agricultural robots that are AI driven is for weed control. And one of the great things about this information that came out was it gave some numbers. So weeds cause 43 billion of losses each year to farmers. That's a huge number, right? I mean, that's a lot of money. So the weed problem is big, and it's important for farmers that this gets solved, especially because plants are becoming resistant to a lot of the herbicides being used. So these weeds are getting tougher and tougher to eradicate. But a company called Blue River, which we've mentioned before, is using AI and sensors to do precision application of the herbicides right on the individual weeds and not on the crop. So it's instead of spraying pesticide and herbicide over an entire field with an airplane or a drone or anything like that, now they can apply it only to the individual weeds that they find using AI and sensors. So that's very cool. Then a second area of agricultural robots that we've talked about before is harvesting. And they talked about Harvest Crew, which we mentioned before. But the very interesting thing is, in terms of strawberries and picking strawberries, the Harvest Crew robot can pick 8 acres of strawberries in a day. I don't know how many of you have been on a farm, but 8 acres is a big piece of land to harvest in a day. So that's very, very impressive, and this has happened very quickly. We talked about before, Harvest Crew only came out with this robot a few years ago, 2017. So this is the other characteristic we've talked about of AI, that it causes a significant acceleration of progress with sensors, with robots, and with a lot of other things. Then a third area where they're using agricultural robots is for crop and soil monitoring. And we're going to talk about two companies that we haven't talked about before. One is called PEAT out of Berlin, and another is called Trace Genomics. And these two companies are using AI to look at soil with sensors, and they can diagnose problems with the soil in terms of what's causing it not to grow crops well with 95% accuracy. That's pretty good for an early stage technology. PEAT is basically a startup, and Trace Genomics is a little bit older, but all of this stuff is new and changing very, very rapidly. And then the third company in crop and soil monitoring is called Sky Squirrel. They use drones to inspect vineyards and monitor progress of grapes growing in vineyards and looking for problems of pests, problems of weeds, problems of too little water, too much water, all kinds of things. So we had previously talked about a different company out of South Africa that's using drones in the African market to do this same kind of work. So my thought on that is that we're going to find AI companies serving continental areas or regional areas because they understand the local culture, they understand the important issues that vary from region to region for farmers. And so it makes sense that there's different AI companies helping farmers in different areas of the world. So agricultural robots is one of the two major areas discussed in this Emerj article about AI in agriculture. And the second major area is predictive analytics. So they're using satellites, two companies, aWhere and Farm Shots, are using satellites to check rates of growth and whether crops are being negatively affected by weather conditions, climate conditions, which is different than weather. Weather is local and temporary, right? Climate is much broader in scale and much longer term. So a climate is like the climate over North America, whereas weather is, what is the weather in Kansas today? So two different things. But predictive analytics is used for a variety of purposes, but one of them is to predict crop yields. And the reason that becomes important is many farmers now buy crop insurance that will kick in if something bad happens and they lose a lot of their harvest so that they don't go bankrupt. Really important. It narrows their margins but prevents catastrophe. And the other reason why is that prices for farm products are set on public exchanges, commodity exchanges. So the prices for wheat, corn, soybeans, all that stuff is set on a public exchange, and that has a dramatic impact on a farmer, right? Because if there's a bumper crop of a crop, the price gets hammered down on the public exchange and the farmer can make much less profit or no profit or lose money on a crop yield for a specific year. Conversely, if a lot of a crop is failing in that year, but a farmer's particular crop of that crop isn't, then they're going to make big money that year because the price goes way up on the exchange and they sell into that high price and have a really good profit year. So being a farmer is challenging. There's a lot of things to think about beyond climate and weather. There's what crop you're going to plant that year. And then there's pest control, weed control. When do you plant? When do you harvest? Is the crop getting enough rain, too much rain, or too little rain? And so AI is really starting to help farmers manage their farmland better and better. But again, it's in early stages. The benefits of AI are going to accelerate dramatically in the next 5 years. We've seen in the last 5 years when almost all this stuff came online, big benefits, but it's nothing compared to what happens over the next 5 years because like all other AI, the more data that's fed into the AI, the better and better it gets. So another 5 years is going to make an exponential difference in the performance of the AI. So I thought you guys would like an update on agriculture and AI. This topic has gotten good response previously, so I hope you enjoyed this. If you liked the video, please like it. And if you really like it, subscribe and share it with all your friends. And we're going to keep everyone up to date on agricultural developments with AI, because this is a big area for AI. And next time on Tuesday, we're going to talk about another major area for AI that is also rapidly evolving, just like agriculture. So see you then, and have a good rest of the weekend. Take care, everybody. Thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate your support, and you guys are the best.